Now, as I've said before, for our main quiz, we are looking at 30 questions total, plus a 3-question champions round at the end for double points. We will take a short break in between at the 15-question mark for a couple minutes so we can stretch out. And half the questions will be about the book, Station 11, and half the questions are about general trivia topics related to themes in the book. We will alternate 5 questions in each category. So hopefully everyone will be able to find some trivia that they're just ready to rock and roll at. I know I'm very excited myself. So we will again be playing 15 questions, a short break, and 15 additional questions, followed by a 3-question champions round. The prizes for our quiz today are Door County Bucks from our friends at Destination Door County. For first prize, a $50 gift certificate. For second prize, a $30 gift certificate. And for numbers, a $20 gift certificate. All redeemable at a variety of our favorite Door County businesses. So on your marks, get set, let's Kahoot. The Bring Your Own Brunch Quiz. Take a slug of your mimosas. Here we go. Question number 1. William Shakespeare was born in this picturesque Warwickshire town. Is it triangle, Stratford-upon-Avon? Diamond, Henley-in-Arden? Circle, Stoke-on-Trent? Or square, Shipston-on-Stour? We have it. And there it is. As you can see, we have the image reveal feature. It is indeed Stratford-upon-Avon. Starting things out, I hope, on a little bit of an easier note, just getting things going. Just for everyone's information, Shipston-on-Stour and Henley-in-Arden are actual towns in Warwickshire. Stoke-on-Trent is an actual town, but it is not in Warwickshire. The British sure do like those multi-word, multi-name towns, don't they? And narrowly in first place so far, after one question, is Polar, followed by Gravy and Banana. Excellent question 2. The word theater comes from theomai, which means to watch or observe in this ancient language. Is it triangle Hebrew, diamond Latin, circle Greek, square Arabic? And as you can see, we are using the image reveal feature. So as the timer counts down, a new image will appear. The answer is circle Greek, either Hebrew, Latin, a bit tricky, or Arabic. It is Greek. We got some movement on the board, folks. Banana is rising. Gravy Davy maintains a 2nd place position, and Polar is in the bronze. Moving forward. This late Shakespearean play finds 2 bumbling sailors shipwrecked on a sorcerer's island. Is it triangle, the 2 noble kinsmen, diamond, the Winter's Tale, circle, love's labor's lost, or square, the Tempest? And the answer is square, the Tempest. The sorcerer in question, Prospero, another one of those, like Lear, important roles for older established Shakespearean actors. Also actresses. Helen Mirren famously portrayed Prospero in a recent production. Gravy Davy is on a streak, folks. He's on fire, but he charges forward into first place. Everyone's doing really well, folks. This is going to be close. I can tell. I can feel it. Question 4. This style of Renaissance comic theater features the characters Harlequin, Pantaloon, and Scaramouche. Is it triangle, Augustin, diamond, melodrama, circle, capa y espada, or square, commedia dell'arte? It is commedia dell'arte. Absolutely. Augustan theater, a style of theater from the 1700s about middle-class success. Melodrama was contemporary, a different style of theater from Italy at the same time as commedia dell'arte. And capa e spada, which is cloak and dagger, or cloak and sword, a specific kind of theater from Spain around that time. And many of the classic clown characters that you see in the circus do still come from the tradition of commedia dell'arte over 500 years ago. It's neck and neck. I mean, we're only at question 4, and I'm already just feeling the tension building here. This is going to be a photo finish. Question 5. Other authors have been proposed for Shakespeare's works, including this English philosopher and statesperson. Is it triangle, Sir Francis Bacon, diamond, Sir Thomas More, circle, Catherine Parr, or square, Edmund Spenser? And it is Sir Francis Bacon. Sir Thomas More was an English statesman and philosopher, but was not alive at the time that Shakespeare was operating. Catherine Parr, the last of Henry VIII's wives, very famous as an early published author in her own right, and she had plenty to write about with a husband like that. And Edmund Spenser, famous for writing the poem The Faerie Queene, but was not considered one of Shakespeare's many possible alternate authors. Francis Bacon, the father of modern scientific method, was. Moving forward, we will begin questions about Station 11, the book, now. And Gravy Davy vaults into top position on our board, followed by Polar and Rennie in third. But Jamie's on a streak, folks. During which act from King Lear did Arthur Leander collapse and pass away? Was it triangle, the fourth act, diamond, the first act, circle, the second act, or square, the third act? Outstanding. It was triangle, the fourth act. The mad scene, blind Lear wandering in the wilderness. Mad Lear wandering in the wilderness, blind Gloucester. Everybody is just having such a good time in that play, aren't they? Polar was a stalking horse, I knew it. Heading up into first place, Rennie on a streak in second, and Gravy Davy drops to third. Question 7. The airline flight which brought the Georgia flu to Toronto originated in which city? Was it triangle, Moscow, diamond, Tokyo, circle, Berlin, or square, Atlanta? It was Moscow indeed. Absolutely no one fell for my cheesy trick question. Atlanta. Good to hear. Not that Georgia, a different Georgia. Yes, it originated in Moscow. Oops, sorry about that. What play did the Traveling Symphony perform in St. Deborah by the Water? Was it triangle, Twelfth Night, diamond, Death of a Salesman, circle, As You Like It, or square, A Midsummer Night's Dream? Of course, hardly needs the clue. There's the Midsummer Night's Dream in the picture, the cinematic version starring Kevin Kline. Michelle Pfeiffer, it's Titania. Lovely movie. Movement on the board. Jamie and Sandarella are jockeying for third place. Rennie on fire in second, and Polar maintains a comfortable lead in first position. Question 9. What was the name of the prophet's dog? Was it Triangle Luli? It was Luli. Yes, indeed. Not Jack, Polly, or Robo. Tracers surging up onto the main board here. But otherwise, I see Jamie and Sanderella still jacking very close, and Polar in a dominant position. Through which state is the Symphony most likely traveling? Is it Triangle, Wisconsin, Diamond, New York, Circle, Michigan, or Square, Maine? And there we are. It is Michigan. Picture of the capital of Michigan at Lansing. Yes, several clues to that during the book. Mention of New Petoskey and other Michigan landmarks throughout. Surging up, our dominators maintain their dominant position after 10 questions. Well done, folks. Toronto is the most populous city in Canada and the blank most populous city in North America. Is it Triangle 4th, Diamond 15th, Circle 21st, or Square 10th? And this is city, most populous city in North America. It is the 4th most populous city in North America, believe it or not. Its metropolitan area is, I think, somewhere around 7th, but it is one of the fastest, if not the fastest growing city in all of North America right now. It may actually overtake Los Angeles to reach 3rd position. Mexico City is 1st, and New York City, of course, is in 2nd in that listing. So Toronto is a happening place, and all indicators would show that it is likely to stay happening for the foreseeable future. Continuing on with Toronto-related trivia. Oh, Tracer's moving, Tracer's climbing, but our top 3 are rock solid right now. We'll see. This Toronto landmark is the tallest freestanding structure in the Western Hemisphere. Oh, folks. Is it Triangle First Canadian Place, Diamond CN Tower, Circle Scotiabank Plaza, or Square the One? First Canadian Place. It is the CN Tower. First Canadian Place is the tallest building in Canada. Scotiabank Plaza, I think, is number 3, and the one, which is currently under construction, will become the tallest building in Canada when it is finished at some point in the future. But of course, since the 70s, the tallest freestanding structure in the Western Hemisphere, the CN Tower. It doesn't count as a building. Somebody's got to break into this top 3. My goodness. I don't know. I think it might be Trace. We'll see. Continuing on, more Toronto, folks. Toronto's food scene produces specialties like the pea-meal bacon sandwich and this homegrown fusion dish. Is it Triangle Taco Rice, Diamond Sushi Pizza, Circle Poutine, or Square Chicken Tikka Masala? We have an example coming up on our image reveal. Taco rice, sushi pizza, poutine, or tikka masala. It is sushi pizza. Very well done. Taco rice, a specialty of Okinawa, actually, from the influence of the US military bases there. Poutine, of course, a famous Canadian dish, probably the most famous Canadian dish, but not a Toronto specialty necessarily. And chicken tikka masala, a classic British fusion dish of disputed origin, but Indian British fusion dish. But it is sushi pizza served on a crispy chip of all things. Very strange dish, but very popular in Twitter. Tracer has surged into third place, folks. We knew it would happen. It was happening. Otherwise, Polar and Rennie. An intense rivalry. This historic team represents Toronto in the Canadian Football League. Is it triangle, the Toronto Marlies, diamond, the Toronto Arrows, circle, the Toronto Nationals, or square, the Toronto Argonauts? Canadian football, different from gridiron football in the States, but similar enough. Compete for the Grey Cup every year. And there they are. It is the Toronto Argonauts. The Toronto Marlies are a minor league hockey team from Toronto. The Toronto Arrows compete in rugby, and the Toronto Nationals compete in cricket. The Argonauts, I believe, are the oldest continually operating professional sports team in North America, interestingly enough. 14 questions. And Polar maintains a commanding lead. Tracer holds on to third place, and Rennie is rock solid in the silver medal position. These two rivers flank downtown Toronto to the east and west. Is it triangle, the Rideau and the Ottawa, diamond, the Humber and the Don, circle, the Red and the Assiniboine, or square, the Rouge and the Clinton? It's a bit of good Toronto geography here. It is actually diamond, the Humber and the Don. The Rideau and the Ottawa converge in Ottawa, the capital of Canada, also in Ontario. The Red and the Assiniboine in Winnipeg, in Manitoba, and the Rouge and the Clinton are the two dominant rivers in Detroit, Michigan. Humber and the Don, many rivers and ravines in Toronto, an interesting geography for that town. After 15, folks, almost halfway there. And Tracer has surged into second place. Rennie holding on to the podium in the bronze position, and Polar seemingly unassailable in the first place position. Fantastic job. We have Jamie and Sanderella talking too. Anything could happen. It's anyone's game. All right. We are going to take just a couple minutes here. So stretch, shake out, get yourselves loosened up. You're halfway there. Well done, everyone. Really fantastic effort.
I will unmute everyone right now. So if you have any questions, click the unmute that will pop up in your screen now, and then we will chat with you.
Perfect. Have a sip of mimosa, everyone.
This is so much fun.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Even though I'm losing miserably. Would have helped if I read the book.
You're not supposed to admit that.
Help.
No.
Well, I've got about 6 others on the stack here. It's kind of hard to.
It's an occupational hazard.
Hard to make the time, but it is. I skimmed through it a couple of times, and it really looks good.
Well, it's an absolutely lovely book. And I'm not just saying that because we promote it here at Door County Reads. I'm particularly fond of this year's selection. I think it's a beautiful, thoughtful, lyrical book. It lends itself pretty well to trivia, as there's a lot of little things that happen throughout it. But really, it's just very dreamy. I find a very hopeful message.
Dreamy.
It is just moving through space and time, different people's perspectives. Inside, outside of reality, all these little things. Yeah. Never thought the end of the world would be so lyrical.
So it shifts in its time frame back and forth.
It does.
Yeah.
It does frequently.
Up.
But very impressed with everyone's performance so far. Well done, everyone, in all aspects of the quiz.
This iPad does seem very logy. It's just, she'll touch and nothing happens. So
That's a great word, logy. I have to steal that one. I don't think I've ever heard that.
It's yours.
That's not Loki. Logi. Write it down. Beautiful.
So I just want to ask everyone, was this a good time for us to have the quiz? Did you find that Sunday morning was worked for you the best, or would an evening quiz be better?
This was a good time.
Yeah,
for
I
me.
think this is a good time, especially if later in the morning is good.
I agree. Good for me.
Doesn't matter. Not that we're doing a whole lot, but
Oh, what I want to know is who is polar?
Rockway. I'm polar.
Nice.
I'm polar.
Oh, excellent.
Our
Wow.
mystery champion. My goodness. What a fabulous performance so far.
I just reread the book last night.
Oh.
I'm making so you all can unmute yourselves right now if you wish. So
Perfect.
Yeah, Tracy, come on. Say something.
What?
No heckling the other participants.
You'll hear all the background noise if I unmute.
Oh,
getting fed the
No
answer.
playing mind games. All right, folks. Are we ready for the second half?
yep.
Yes.
All right. Strap in, mute up, and let's get started. So we're moving back to book questions now, which may be a strength or a weakness, depending on your engagement with the book and your feeling about the questions. So let's begin. Question 16. What do Kirsten's knife tattoos represent? Triangle, her childhood memories. Diamond, family members. Circle, people she's killed. Or square, places she's visited. Yes, it's people she's killed. Yes, it's a full contact sport in the world after the collapse, unfortunately. Persistent role in the book moving forward. No, those top three. Though I see Jamie stalking, and Sanderell isn't far out of the money either. It could all change in a moment. Question 17. Where does survival is insufficient come from? It's another tattoo of Kirsten's. Where does it come from? Triangle, the Dr. 11 comic. Diamond, Stargate. Circle, Star Trek. Or square, Battlestar Galactica. And there's your clue, folks. Indeed, it does come from Star Trek. Circle is the answer with the United Federation of Planets crest as our clue today, not the Dr. 11 comic in this instance. Ooh, movement on the board. What did I tell you? Flick is charging up. Jamie moving up into bronze. Rennie drops off the podium, but Tracer and Polar apparently unassailable. And it's the competition is stiff. Moving forward, question 18. What does unusual facial scar remind Kirsten of? Is it triangle, a crown? Diamond, an airplane? Circle, a snowflake? Or square, a tear? Finn, gentleman working in an abandoned gas station in the book. Our clue coming in. It is an airplane. Yes, indeed. Thought I was being so clever with my Wright brothers clue image. But yes, Reminds her of an airplane. Airplanes, a theme that pop up again and again throughout the book in various forms. One of the symbols that the author likes to use of the double-edged sword of modernity. No movement here. Everybody just is so successful. Really very impressive performance from everyone. 19. I stood looking over my damaged home and tried to forget the sweetness of life on earth. Who said this? Was it Triangle the Prophet, Diamond Arthur Leander, Circle Dr. 11, or Square Jeevan Chowdhury? I stood looking over my damaged home and tried to forget the sweetness of life on earth. It was Dr. 11 in the Dr. 11 comic, and one of the many stories within a story that appears in books, the ongoing references to this, to a graphic novel series. Movement on the board, Flick is charging. She's eyeing that bronze position. Nobody's out of the running, folks. Everybody is doing so well. What is Jeevan's plan when he finally tries to escape Toronto? Hold up with his brother for a while, but he tried to escape. Was it Triangle start a settlement? Diamond head due north? Circle try to reach Mexico? Or Square follow the lake? Excellent. Yes, his plan was to follow the lake, even to a slightly irrational degree. But those particular sequences really do highlight how chaotic things would be. And I can't say that I would be able to come up with a rational plan under those circumstances either. Things turn over for Jeevan. Everyone's a winner, no movement on the board this time around. Moving into a non-book 5-question series, this theme will be comic books and graphic novels. Again, a major theme throughout the book, the graphic novel Dr. 11 and its meaning to various characters. So we will be looking at graphic novels and comics. All right, here we go. Question 21. Harvey Kurtzman created this groundbreaking humor magazine in 1952, borrowing its mascot from an old dental ad. Was it Triangle National Lampoon, Diamond Cracked, Circle Plop, or Square Mad? And it is indeed Mad Magazine, of course. Absolutely groundbreaking, defined American humor in many ways for the next 50 years. And yes, Plop and Cracked are both real comic or real humor magazines that were released for a brief period of time as sort of ripoffs of Mad. And the National Lampoon, also a famous humor magazine, but it came along a little later, in the late 60s in its heyday. Flicka charges into third place. What a climb up the boards, folks. Comic scholars use this term for the period from 1938 to 1954, when many famous superhero characters were created. Was it Triangle, the golden age of comic books, Diamond, the heroic age, Circle, the famous funnies, or Square, the pulp era? Coming up on our image board, some examples of comics from that era. Yes, indeed, it is Triangle, the golden age of comic books. Comic book history is usually divided into eras based on metals. So golden age, the earliest age, then silver age, and then finally the bronze age and the modern age. The heroic age is a marketing strategy used by Marvel Comics sometime in the last 10 years. The famous funnies is a term that refers to the comic books that came out before the golden age, things like Tintin and some comic strips. And the pulp era, it refers to pulp magazines and pulp materials, which are a variety of genres, not just comic books, but around the same. Standing. Captain America, Batman, Superman, all from the Golden Age. And Tracer charges forward into first place. I didn't think it could happen. It is a neck and neck battle for the top spot here as we move into the last third of our quiz. Using animal characters to tell the story of the Holocaust won this graphic novel a Pulitzer Prize. Was it triangle mouse, diamond Persepolis, circle a bag of marbles, or square Watership Down? Image from the relevant. It is Mouse, Art Spiegelman's 80s opus, the only graphic novel or comic to ever win a Pulitzer Prize. Not uncontroversial because of its depiction of various types of people as different animal types, but a seminal work that's been continuously studied. Persepolis, another critically acclaimed comic, but not dealing with the Holocaust. The Bag of Marbles deals with the Holocaust, but it is a more modern effort. And Watership Down, a famous novel by Richard Adams using animal characters, but not a graphic novel. Outstanding. Oh, Rennie vaults into third place again. The battle for the bronze is tight. The battle for the top spot is the matter of a couple hundred points. It could go either way. Things are getting intense. This 1954 book blamed comic books for juvenile delinquency and crime, sparking a push for censorship. Is This Tomorrow? Triangle. Diamond, Tell Your Children. Circle, Perversion for Profit. Or square, Seduction of the Innocent. It is Seduction of the Innocent, a famous episode in the history of censorship. It led to the creation of the Comic Code, which dominated comic books for the next 40 years or so, determining what content was allowed and what wasn't. Advertisers were encouraged not to advertise in comic books that did not follow the code. The code still exists, but none of the major comic book companies follow it any longer. So it really has no teeth whatsoever. But yes, the research, of course, that blamed comics for juvenile delinquency has been strongly questioned in the subsequent 70 years or so. The other names, by the way, are all other scare films and scare books for various and sundry things from the same time. They are all real. I knew it was going to happen. Polar charging again into first place. Tracer still a strong second. And Rennie fighting it out for third. This groundbreaking 1990s comic series featured the adventures of Morpheus, the Lord of Dreams. Was it Triangle, American Gods, Diamond, Sleepwalker, Circle, The Sandman, or Square, Alias? And there is a strong clue. It is Circle the Sandman, written famously by Neil Gaiman. A very groundbreaking series and kind of often considered his magnum opus. American Gods, a novel by Neil Gaiman. Sleepwalker, a Marvel Comics character, which appeared around the same time and I suspect was strongly influenced by the success of The Sandman, but a totally different character. And Alias, another comic book series, which was eventually adapted into Jessica Jones on Netflix, an excellent series, which I recommend. Oh, things are getting tighter and tighter on the top spot. We are talking under 100 points difference. Things are intense. And we are coming into the final section. This is on the book again. So station 11 will determine our order before we go into our 3-question point champions round. Let's rock and roll, folks. Miranda's work for which company brings her to Singapore when the Georgia flu outbreak begins? Is it Triangle, Poseidon Enterprises, Diamond, Net Logistics, Circle, Jupt Micronics, or Square, Kenco Group? It is Neptune Logistics. Outstanding, folks. I made up Poseidon Enterprises. Jupt Micronics, famously the false software company that got New Republic journalist Stephen Glass canned from his position as a reporter. And Kenco Group is an actual real-life logistics company. Movement everywhere. Polar charges in again. Again, just the barest of difference between our first and second place. And there's also an intense fight happening for third place. Great stuff. What does Tyler obsessively read to the victims on the Severn City quarantine plane? Is it Triangle, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, Diamond, the Book of Genesis, Circle, the Book of Revelation, or Square, the Bhagavad Gita? Yes, it's the Book of Revelation. The theme of the book, even if you haven't read the book, the theme would probably suggest that that was a good guess. Yes, it is the Book of Revelation, and without spoiling it for those who haven't read it, his interest in that may have had unfortunate consequences for him in later life. Everyone has stayed in position. Moving forward. What was the first item in the Museum of Civilization? Was it Triangle, an American Express card, an iPhone, Circle, a dollar bill, or Square, the Dr. 11 comic? Bit on the nose with the clue there. It was an iPhone. It was an iPhone. It was the first iPhone. It was Clark's personal iPhone, which he put on a shelf and then went searching for other things, including an American Express card, which was the next item, I believe. And Tracer charges again. Oh my gosh, it's too much. It's too much. Somebody get me some smelling salts. I can't stand this. Moving on, moving forward. What do Kirsten and Clark see from the top of the airport control tower? Is it Triangle, a flock of wild geese, Diamond, a town with electric lights, Circle, a plane in flight, or Square, cars moving on a highway? Near the end of the book. The defining image. Absolutely, a town with electric lights, symbol of potential hope, potential ominous future, hard to say. The book has kind of an ambivalent relationship with some of the elements in our modern life. So a return to the modern world of electricity is not necessarily 100% unequivocally good. Flicka charging again for third. All right, folks, this is the last of the main quiz. We'll take another short little break before we move into our champions round, 3 questions, and then everything will be decided. As the Symphony departs Severn City, what does Kirsten donate to the Museum of Civilization? Is it triangle, a snow globe, diamond, a copy of King Lear, circle, a copy of Dr. 11, or square, one of her knives? And it is a copy of Dr. 11. Absolutely. So as we enter the champions round, 3 questions between us and the final score. We have in first place, Polar with 22,032 points, Tracer coming in second with 21,648, Jamie with 19,683 coming in, and then it's very, very tight for that third place flick of 19,615, and Rennie not out of the running by any means at 18,553. Excellent, folks. Another couple minute break, maybe an unmute.
You are all able to unmute now if you want to chat.
Is that Morgan Man?
I'm gonna.
Yep, this is Morgan Man.
The biggest technical problem is that the iPad will not go to the selections. It'll stay on that screen where it says you were correct or you were incorrect, and it won't display the your. So Rennie didn't even get a chance to answer about 6 of those. So pretty frustrating.
Gosh, I'm sorry.
I did have that happen once, and if you're able to hit the refresh button, that did it for me.
Well, I'm right next to her with my iPhone, and they pop up, so we don't know. And there's no refresh on an iPad.
Not up towards the top at all, or I don't know what it looks like on your screen.
It says quit.
Yeah. Then I don't know.
So it's crazy, but it's fun.
Hopefully in the next round, when we're doing this again for next year, we'll be able to do it in person, and then all the tech issues won't be there.
Right.
Whoever put this together, it's so much fun with all the facts that you have about all the other answers. It's very entertaining. I'm just having a great time. Thanks.
Well, that's delightful. I'm so glad to hear it. I was telling Morgan before we began that this allows me to indulge one of my great passions, which is, semi-useful information and the accumulation thereof. So perfect. I'm so glad.
I like that. Let's not call it trivia.
No. Semi-useful. There's no such thing as useless information.
No.
I hope I'm going to be able to hang in there for these last 3 questions. My dogs are probably going to start barking any second, and I may not be able to hear you.
Okay. I'll try to speak up. I don't want to rival them.
Okay.
All right. Sounds like everybody is kind of refreshed. Let's go, folks. Like I said, these are going to be for double points. These are not book related. These are the 3 categories that we've seen of non-book trivia. So comic books, Toronto, and Shakespeare, or Shakespearean stuff. And I think Shakespearean stuff. I forgot which questions put in. Well, there are 3 great questions. Anyway, and they're going to be for double points. And this is our champions round. So these 3 questions will determine the rest of the quiz. Thank you all for your excellent participation, and I will see you on the podium. So let's get rolling. All right. Double points, here we go. The eruption of this volcano in 1815 caused the apocalyptic year without a summer. Was it triangle, Krakatoa, diamond, Tambora, circle, Pinatubo, or square, Vesuvius? decisive stuff. It was Mount Tambora. Oh my goodness. Yes, Tambora, which is in Indonesia, erupted in 1815 and released so much material into the atmosphere that it actually changed global weather patterns throughout the Northern Hemisphere, effectively creating a year without a summer, which had devastating effects for crops throughout the world. The interesting thing about this being that it's conjectured that a lot of the experience that came out of that caused the birth of post-apocalyptic literature. Lord Byron and Mary Shelley both published works based on post-apocalyptic themes, the first ones recorded based on those outside of religious texts after this experience. So it could have created the entire genre in many ways. Krakatoa, another very famous volcanic eruption later on in the 1800s in Indonesia. I think still the largest explosion ever registered by humankind. Pinatubo, of course, a more modern volcanic eruption that took place, many eruptions have taken place in the Philippines, and Mount Vesuvius famously buried Pompeii and is still very much active, but that is in Italy. But yes, the answer is Mount Tambora. Spectacular was shown in the image. Movement on the boards. Movement on the boards. Now this is something. Is this already totaled?
Yeah, no one got it right, so no one moved.
Oh, you're right. No one got it right. I thought there was a glitch. Question 2. Still plenty of opportunity to change that. In 1978, this comic book pioneer, sorry for the typo, published A Contract with God, often considered the first graphic novel. Was it Triangle Alan Moore, Diamond Will Eisner, Circle Stan Lee, or Square Bob Kane? Ooh, decisive answers here. Example of the art style from said book. Here in the answers, it is Will Eisner. Well done for whoever got that one. It was not Stan Lee. Stan Lee, of course, famous for creating a good chunk of all the Marvel Comics characters in the 1960s, and kind of the spiritual father of that comic company. Bob Kane created Batman in the 30s, still owns the rights to that, or his family does rather, just passed away recently. And Alan Moore created Watchmen, The Killing Joke, and several very groundbreaking comic books in the 80s. But Will Eisner created A Contract with God, which is a story of Jewish tenement life in New York. So it really kind of changed the game as far as what could be depicted in comic books, and is generally considered to be the first example of a proper graphic novel. Excellent. Last question. Oh, Polar charging ahead. Outstanding, Polar. Double points. Which of these is not a nickname for the city of Toronto? Is it Triangle Toontown, Diamond the Big Smoke, Circle Hogtown, and Square Hollywood of the North, which is not a nickname for Toronto? Not. The answer is Toontown. Toontown, nickname for Saskatoon, the capital of Saskatchewan. The Big Smoke is a nickname for Toronto. It's an interesting nickname. It actually results from a Canadian newspaper writer who characterized Toronto as being something that seems like it should be a big deal, but really isn't. So it's really just kind of ephemeral, which is an interesting look at the Canadian national character. I think it's fair to say, given what's happened in the last 20 years, that's no longer the case for Toronto, but the nickname stuck. Hogtown refers to Toronto's status in the early part of the 20th century as a huge exporter of pork, the biggest exporter of pork in the entire British Empire. the aforementioned P-meal bacon being a famous example of that. And the Hollywood of the North is absolutely accurate. Toronto films a lot of movies and is also home to the Toronto International Film Festival, which is the largest film festival in the world. So yes, Toontown is not a nickname for Toronto. And your podium, fantastic job. Silver medal goes to Tracer and Polar in first place. A absolutely outstanding effort and a really outstanding effort from everyone involved in today's quiz.
It was fun.
So I'm glad you enjoyed it. I apologize for any and all technical difficulties. This is a big learning experience for us too. And I hope that despite all that, everyone got to have a great time. And we may, in fact, do these in the future.
Oh, totally. It was really fun. You did a wonderful job.
Oh, thank you so much. So a couple other things for housekeeping. First, if you did enjoy this program, you can fill out an evaluation for it at the website for Door County Speaks. What is the website for Door County Speaks, Morgan? Refresh my memory.
You mean Door County Reads?
Door County Read.
And then
I couldn't even remember the name. Oh, good grief.
In the chat for everyone, if you wanted to do a evaluation.
Thanks for a great quiz. It was so much.
Well, thank you so much for being such a great audience and such great participants. Really fabulous performance, and thank you so much again for bearing with us for the joys of technology, which we've all come to know and love in the last year. Well, there's still plenty of Door County Reads left to go for those of you who haven't had enough Station 11. We have so many exciting things happening coming up. Of a particular note is our author keynote with Emily St. John Mandel, and that will be Thursday, the 11th, coming week at 7 p.m. But check out the Door County Reads website for a full calendar of our remaining events. There's lots to do, everything we could possibly think of to relate to Station 11 we are doing. It could be very exciting. So, outstanding.
Thank you.
And thank you. Take care, everybody.
See you later.
Enjoy your Sunday.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.